All right, hey everyone. I'm glad we're here. We got an exciting person on e-commerce SEO, Keval Shah. I know who Keval is, but Keval, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do?
Yeah, sure. I'm Keval Shah. I've been in the SEO space for pretty close to 15 years, which is crazy because I'm 30. I've been doing it, since I was pretty young. I got into like doing niche websites and ranking niche websites, making money off of Google AdSense from that. And, from there, I started kind of in college, just kind of freelancing a little bit on the side. I was really bad at school, so I couldn't get like a real internship through the degree I was studying, which was computer science. So freelanced in SEO. Ended up dropping out of college. Worked at an SEO agency for a little bit. Realized that I didn't really like how they operated. Felt like I could do it better, and kind of started my own. Started building kind of a following on X, and I niched down into like e-commerce SEO specifically. And so now I run an e-commerce SEO agency. Been doing it since 2019. So it's been like 6 years now, which is crazy. And it's just been, a heck of a journey.
Question: Did you ever do the? When I did SEO a long time ago too, and when I did, I used to do. We used to go on Wicked Fire, and Wicked Fire used to be. It used to be rank and make bank. I think that's what they called it. And what we would do is we would rank websites, and then lease those out basically, or lease the leads out to local businesses. I don't know. Is that
Yeah.
something that you guys used to do?
I didn't, but that business model was also always enticing for me, right? Because it's like rent, rank and rent, I think, or something like they call it. I think they call it
Yeah,
rent and rank.
yeah,
But yeah, no, it's a cool business model, right? Because you control the sites, and then you basically just like you sell those leads, or you can like rent out, visibility on the site to local businesses, and it's a great model. Honestly, I
yeah.
wish maybe I'll try it. It's never too late.
Right. All right. Well, let's get down to it. I mean, in 2026, with
Yeah.
TikTok Shop and all these social selling stuff, is SEO still worth it?
Absolutely. I would argue that SEO is probably more important than it's ever been today, and the reason for that is because of AI, right? So, you know, with AI, people are always trying to figure out like what is AI SEO? How do I optimize for Chat GPT, Perplexity, AI mode in Google? How do you optimize for that, right? And the reality is that AI SEO isn't that different from traditional SEO. In fact, traditional SEO is just a prerequisite to AI SEO, right? So if you want to appear in ChatGPT, if you're an e-commerce brand, or you're a local business, and you want visibility in AI models, the first step is doing traditional SEO. That gets you 80% of the way there, and then you need to do stuff with Reddit, right? Because AI loves to cite Reddit as a source, so you need to kind of grow your brand on Reddit. You need to appear in listicles on high authority websites, right? And you just need to have a good brand, right? You need to have a good brand that has good reviews, has built trust, that Google recognizes as legitimate, right? You need all those pieces, but again, it starts with traditional SEO. So the reason, again, why SEO is like so important now is because if you want to rank in AI models, you need SEO. And with the way AI is going, right? Like I can tell you right now, compared to Google, AI is like a fraction. It drives a fraction of the traffic. It's a fraction of the usage that Google has, right? Or users use it far less than they use Google, right? But that number will grow. And if you want to position yourself for success in the future, in 2026, 2027, 2028, right, and beyond, you need to be ranking in Google, because there's no sites out there that appear well or appear frequently in AI models, but don't rank well in Google. That site doesn't exist. So do SEO, rank well in Google, and you will be on your way towards ranking in AI, which is where the real visibility is gonna begin to kind of where there's gonna be a lot more visibility in the future.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you. Is I know what I see, and obviously, I just wanted to get your take on it. So you think, I think this. You think that although ChatGPT is definitely gaining, is trending in terms of search volume, you don't think it's there quite yet in 2025, 2026.
Not yet. People use it, right? We have a lot of data on like organic traffic from Google versus organic traffic from like ChatGPT. And ChatGPT is like, a tenth of Google, maybe even less, right? So Google still is the big dog here, right? You still want to optimize for Google. ChatGPT is something like in the future will pick up even more, right? I mean, the usage of ChatGPT is increasing, right? I mean, I remember, a couple years ago when it came out, it's like nobody was really using it, right? And then last year, like my parents started using it, right? And then now everyone is starting to use it. It's picking up steam, and it's just going to grow and grow and grow. So it's like you need to, put yourself in a position to be visible in ChatGPT if you own an online business, right? Or even a local business, right? Like if you have some kind of internet presence, you need visibility in ChatGPT, like if not now, in the future, right? And you get that, 80% through traditional SEO.
So for ChatGPT and AI, basically in general, I understand that. I'm glad you brought that up with the results. But as far as building websites, what suggest for people that, well, first of all, can they build content off ChatGPT? Do you suggest that? And two, if everyone is building content using ChatGPT, how can they separate themselves from the 50, 100 companies that are using ChatGPT as well to create content?
It's such a great question. And it dives into a really important aspect of SEO, which I'll kind of get into. But so first of all, yes, you can use ChatGPT for content. I think there was a lot of noise initially where people were saying, "Oh, Google penalizes you for using ChatGPT." There's a lot of like mixed opinions out there. What I do know for a fact that Google will penalize you for is if you spin up 800 articles with ChatGPT and publish them all really, really fast, it's going to trigger their spam. You're going to get put in their spam filter. You're probably going to get a manual action penalty, and your site's going to get de-indexed from Google, right? What you can do though is you can absolutely spin up an article with ChatGPT and then go in with a human editor and just kind of make some tweaks, right? That's fine. It's like you kind of want to look at you want to look at it more as like ChatGPT assisted content rather than just like having ChatGPT spin up an article and then you just publish it, right? Like you want to avoid that.
Copy and paste, right? Yeah,
you want to avoid copy and pasting. Because also like people can kind of tell what's AI written now. Like it's good, but you can still kind of tell if it's AI written. And it's you gotta think about your brand too, right? It's not just about SEO. It's not just about ranking. It's like, ranking and getting traffic is part of the equation. But then you also have to think about like what's the conversion mechanism, right? Will people read this article, trust me, and trust my brand, and then purchase from me, right? Or schedule a consultation call, right? So there is that aspect too, where it's like you want the visibility, obviously, but you also want to build the trust. So again, like you can still rank with ChatGPT content. You just got to tweak it a little bit, make it, add your own personal touch to it. Now, in terms of like, how do you separate yourself? So number one, it's kind of ironic, but we've kind of come full circle where it's like, if you just write your own content as a human, you are going to separate yourself to an extent, right? Because it's going to have that touch, and like you're going to be able to incorporate your own personal experiences. I mean, not that AI can't do that, right? But it's people can tell when something is written with like passion, right, and authority, right? It's like you can just kind of tell the difference. So funny enough, it's like one way to separate yourself is to not use AI and create your own content, which of course puts you at a disadvantage, right? So I'm not saying that's like the best way to do it, but in terms of like SEO, how do you separate yourself from SEO? Say like you have a business and you're publishing content, you're trying to rank. It's like if everyone has access to AI and everyone can essentially create the same high quality content. Let's just assume that you're using AI in a manner in which you're creating you're editing and creating high quality content. If that playing field is even, right, and the content is there, let's look at the other aspects of SEO, right? Keyword research. You can't really like separate yourself there because you can copy everyone else's keyword research in SEO. I can go into Ahrefs and pull a competitor site, see what keywords are targeting, copy that, right? I can make my website as technically sound as the next guy's, right? I can hire a dev. I can make sure the website speed is awesome. I can make sure there are no Google Search Console errors with like the LCP, whatever, right? I always forget what it's called. That stuff doesn't really make a difference, honestly, but you could go in and optimize it, right? And you can make your website as technically sound as you want. So then how do you separate yourself? It's the link building. That's why people who come to me and they're like, "Oh, links don't matter. Link building is dying, whatever." It doesn't make any sense because link building is actually more important than ever because it's the one separating factor. Everything else you can copy, right? But you can't copy someone's link profile necessarily because you can go out and buy links, right? But if you get, Business Insider links to you naturally because you have really good brand presence or something like that, like not everyone can copy that. Not everyone has the budget to go out and pay for a Business Insider article, right? So you can't copy
Right.
that. You also can't copy your brand, right? You have to build your brand up, right? You need to, build brand authority. You need to, run ads. You need to build an email list, right? You need to build a community, right? Like that's another thing that you can't copy. And brand authority is a huge SEO factor, right? Like if someone is searching your brand name a ton, it signals to Google, hey, these guys are a legitimate website. Let's rank them higher, right? If you have no branded searches, it's really hard to rank in Google nowadays. So it's like, yeah, I mean, again, the way you separate yourself now is link building and brand authority.
Yeah. Speaking of link building, that's when I watch your video. That's how when I reached out to you. I said the exact same thing. And something that we started doing too is for the stores that we kind of have on our own, we start
Mhm.
linking to category pages or
Yep.
collection pages. I think Shopify calls it, and
Yep.
WooCommerce is called categories. But yeah, that's something that we learned from your videos on how to increase and kind of target that that section of your e-commerce store.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Did it work well for you?
Well, we just started it, but yeah, this is something we're just slowly delving into. Obviously, we're starting to build more online stores for our clients. They're starting to
Yeah.
see the value of that, whether that's for the employee stores or for they want to sell branded merch of their own. So obviously, as we go along, we'll start hopefully getting into more of that. But
Yeah.
as far as e-commerce goes and SEO for e-commerce, where do you rank SEO in terms of the overall structure of digital marketing, right? Like digital marketing, you have, like you said, email lists, you have social
Mhm.
media. Obviously now Instagram and TikTok, they all have TikTok Shop, which my daughter's her brand is on. And so where would you rank if you look at the overall pie of a client of a company that's saying, hey, we want to start really focusing on our online store,
Mhm.
what percentage would you put SEO on as opposed to the whole in comparison to the whole circle of digital marketing?
Yeah, that's a good question. It's hard to assign like an importance to it because it's all kind of important in its own way and it all kind of works together, right? SEO works well with paid ads works with SEO. But in terms of like, I'll say like if you're a brand new business, right, and you're getting started, I would not recommend you start with SEO first. The reason being is because SEO is expensive. SEO takes a while to get traction. And if you have a brand new business, it's hard to get a new site ranking from scratch, especially if you're like in the e-commerce space. Google really wants to make sure that you're a legit brand before they start ranking you, right? So before getting into SEO, I would definitely put paid ads above it, right? I would get email marketing going before it. I'd get influencer marketing going before it. I would actually put SEO last, believe it or not.
Hmm.
And the reason for that is because all of those other things makes SEO 10 times easier, right? But if you go in and you say, we're going to build this brand organically, right? We're not going to do any ads. You can't do that now. Like Google's not going to rank you, right? You can't just say no to paid ads and say, I'm going to dump, 50K into SEO over the next couple of years and let this thing just generate all the revenue. It doesn't work that way, right? Like you need brand authority for SEO to like really, really work. So I always tell people like, and you want that cash flow coming in, right? I mean, e-commerce is a cash flow game. Like you need to manage your cash flow. You need cash flow coming in. You can't sit there for 6 months hoping that you rank, right? And especially when
Right.
it's harder if you have an authority, right? So like, oddly enough, it's like I would put SEO. I would say to start SEO last. I would get everything else in place and then start SEO. That's not to say SEO isn't important, right? Because you still want to, rank at the top of Google. You want that visibility. You want to appear in like ChatGPT and Perplexity, right? Like you still want that visibility. It's very, very important. But I would put paid ads in all those other marketing channels as more important to start first, and then you layer in SEO once you have that, once you have your brand built, right? And, you also want to ensure that, your brand is something that will work for you, right? You want to test it. You want to make sure you get product sales and stuff like that. So I would run ads and do all that stuff first.
Would you say, I know this was a thing a long time ago, but would you say that a solid foundation, a solid SEO foundation helps paid ads? In other words, if you took two sites and you have paid ads, one has
Uh-huh.
a good solid foundation of structure and SEO and one doesn't. Do
Mhm.
you think the ads that go towards the SEO friendly one is more, they would favor that more? It doesn't really matter because you're paying for it.
Yeah, it doesn't really matter too much because you're paying for it. So like SEO, good SEO, if you have a good SEO structure, it's not going to really help your paid ads necessarily perform better. But what it does do is that SEO is a demand capture platform, right? Paid ads is a demand generator platform, right? So what I mean by this is, let's say you run, let's say you have a company that sells like, I don't know, like just let's just say gold or something like that, right? Let's assume it's a very specific, let's say like 24 karat gold or something like that, right? And let's say like, the demand for that isn't like as much. What you can do is you can run ads to generate the demand for it, right? You can start running ads for like 24 karat gold. And I'm not saying there's no demand for that, right? But let's say you want to increase the demand for it. You run ads for it. People see your ad, then people start researching 24 karat gold. Like, why should I buy 24 karat gold? Like, what are the best vendors for 24 karat gold? Like 24 karat gold, like earrings, necklaces, right? You need SEO to capture that demand, right? You need Google visibility to capture that demand, right? So Facebook, it's like people will click on your site, right? Some people will convert, but what about all those people that are doing research, right? They're going to do
Right.
research and they're going to go to your competitors who are ranking at the top for those keywords, right? So SEO is really important because it basically kind of fixes a leaky funnel, right? You have all these people coming in through paid ads, people who buy, great. People who go and start to do research, you need SEO to capture it. So in a sense, like SEO doesn't necessarily like make paid ads like work better, like technically, right? But it does help your overall marketing funnel and help bring some of those users back to you, who are doing more research and people who aren't necessarily buying immediately.
Well, I'm going to put you on the spot here because I know you mentioned paid ads and whatnot. Let's just say there's a company, 50K budget a month for 6 months. They're
Uh-huh.
just starting out. How would you break that down over the 6 month period? Would you put 40K into ads in the beginning, 10K into SEO, or and then as it transitions month 3, 4, 5, 6, how would you break down? And obviously we can use percentages, right? I mean, whether it's 10K, whatever, we can kind of break down that down as a percentage. But over a six
Yeah.
month campaign or a year campaign, first of all, what do you advise? Do you advise a 6 month campaign, a year campaign? What do you say to that?
Yeah, I mean SEO, I would say at least minimum 6 months. Just because
Right.
it's a long-term game, right? Reason why it
Right.
takes 6 months is because backlinks take like 3 months just to activate, right? So you can do all the on-page stuff and you'll see some like bumps and rankings from there, but link building is the fuel of the fire that moves you onto the first page, right? And again, links take 2 to 3 months to activate. Sometimes they activate sooner. There's a lot of factors, right? Like, if you get a very high authority link, it could activate a lot quicker, but other links may take longer, right? So 6 month thing for sure. Now, in terms of if you had a 50K budget, if you're a brand new site, I would honestly put all that into paid ads and I wouldn't touch SEO at all in the interim period, right? I would wait until you are scaled up to like 50K a month or so before you even think about SEO. That's always the benchmark I give people, like 50K a month. Once you're at that, even better is like, like 100K or 83K, whatever, get to like that 7-figure mark. Even that's even better, right? Because again, e-commerce cash flow game. It's not like the greatest margins in the world, right? So it's like you want to have that cash flow coming in because you want to be able to invest in SEO for 6 months. You don't want to be like, okay, I made like 10 grand profit this month. Like I can put it into SEO for the 3 months and hopefully it'll get going by that. That's a wrong mindset to go into. Like you want to only invest in SEO when you don't care about it, right? You put the money into it and you just let it roll, right? Let it roll for 6 to 12 months, whatever it needs to get going. But if you are like, struggling to pay that SEO bill every month, it's not for you right now. You want to do it when you have good cash flow, good brand authority, and you're ready to like invest for the long run. So I would put 50K totally into paid ads, grow the business, grow the cash flow, grow the brand, right? And then, again, once you're kind of at those benchmarks, then you can look at SEO.
Well, based on your answers, I think I already know the answer to my next question is, so obviously we're coming up to Q4.
Yeah.
A lot of our stores and our clients are special based in terms of holidays like Valentine's Day,
Yep.
St. Patrick's Day, 4th of July. They have special merch that are geared towards specific holidays. So again, I think I already know what you're going to say, but what do you suggest? I mean, is that all paid ads at that point? And when, if it is all paid ads, when should they start? Like, let's just say it's November. It's a little late for that, but let's just say for Valentine's Day, when would they actively starting to push out campaigns towards that day? How soon in advance?
For SEO specifically?
Well, SEO or paid ad. I mean, I figure you would
Yeah.
say paid ads you would want to do. Can you even do SEO for let's say Valentine's Day or 4th of July? Does that?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So there are a lot of things you can do for SEO for those holidays. I would recommend getting it set up 6 months in advance just to be safe.
Okay.
But what you would do, the strategy for that is actually incredible. We just ran it for a client of ours who has like a hearing aid brand. And so what you do is you build a collection page and you title it, let's say for Black Friday. In this case, it's hearing aids Black Friday deal, right? And you can use a keyword tool like Ahrefs, and you could do this for like Valentine's Day, hearing aids Valentine's Day. There's probably not much volume there, right? But hearing aids Cyber Monday deal, hearing aids St. Patrick's Day deal, right? Whatever, right? And you would stand up collection pages for those, and you would put some content on there. You would optimize it for the keyword. You would put you would build some links to it, right? And those are evergreen pages that once you get it ranking, come holiday season, when it's Black Friday and people are searching, Black Friday hearing aids deals, if you have visibility there, you're going to make a lot of money. I mean, that is some serious cash right there, right? Especially if you're ranking at the top. This hearing aid company we work with, we actually we just, because we didn't start working with them too long ago. So like we just recently stood up their Black Friday page, and it ranked in like 2 weeks or something like that. They're number 2 right now, which is awesome. It doesn't usually happen that fast, but in this case, they had a lot of authority, and it worked pretty well. So they're going to get a lot of visibility there. But in terms of like SEO for like these holiday things, again, I would stand up these like very specific collection pages, 3 to 6 months ahead of time. So you give it some time to rank. And then the thing is, you only got to do it once, right? So, say the page is live, it's ranking for Black Friday, and then Black Friday ends, right? You can take the products off that page, whatever you want to do, but leave that page indexed so that next year, that page is still ranking, and then you just keep cleaning up on the sales there, right? So, holiday SEO is massive, like it's massive. You got to do it.
Okay. Perfect. Well, it's a little late now because it's not 6 months, but yeah, definitely for next year we'll get started. But as SEOs go, just SEO in general, how is e-commerce SEO specialized? Or you don't think of a doctor, you have a general practitioner, and then as you get more special needs, you get like cardiologists or ENTs or whatever. So people that are looking for e-commerce SEO specifically, I'm talking about clients that are looking, or stores or brands that are looking for e-commerce SEO specifically to drive traffic and sales to their store. Can they hire a general SEO agency, or is e-com SEO specialized?
I would say it's probably more specialized. Reason being is because the strategy is like very different than, a SaaS platform or like a local business, or, I mean, niche sites, people don't really do them anymore because they don't really rank as well, but like it's all different, right? Like SaaS SEO is different. Like all of them have their own strategy, right? For local businesses, you're obviously trying to rank for location keywords, and you're building a lot of like local business citations and you're trying to get reviews, right? That strategy is its own separate strategy. For SaaS, you know, a lot of those like feature pages you try to rank for SaaS are like pretty competitive. You try to do it, but SaaS is a lot of blog content and like versus competitor pages, right? E-commerce is more collection pages, right? So you're ranking products if there's keywords for it, but mostly you're building as many collection pages or product category pages, right, as you can to accumulate rankings for those transactional keywords. And you can do like competitor versus keywords and alternative keywords and stuff like that. But it's like if someone doesn't have experience like optimizing a collection page, like if they don't know what works for optimizing a collection page, if they don't know like how to build links to an e-commerce brand in a way that looks natural, like you can get in trouble and you probably won't see the best results. So like I would always recommend for any SEO vertical, like look for a specialist if whether you're doing SaaS, local, e-commerce. I think hiring a general SEO practitioner, it could work. It just really depends on that SEO practitioner if he has experience in the space. So all that to say, like, it is different. It is different than the other mediums, and you should try to find a specialist.
Okay. Well, and we're gonna break it down to our industry right now, which is obviously we do merch stores and clothing brands and fulfillment for them. But and I know this is gonna be the question. So anyone that has a clothing brand, any company out there pushing their merch, I know merch is a big thing right now. So what is your best, some companies have hundreds of products, hundreds of options, some have, maybe a base of 5. But regardless how many products a clothing brand or a merch brand has, what is your best advice for specifically for clothing brands or companies that are looking out there to promote their merch?
Yeah. So clothing brands, it's kind of the same type of framework for like any kind of e-commerce SEO. It's building out a lot of collection pages, right? I wouldn't worry too much about ranking individual products. I would focus more on collection pages and building out as many collection pages as possible, right? Like let's say like you have like a sweater store or something like that, right? Like think of all the different ways that people search for sweaters. They search for colors, right? They search for fabrics and textures, right? You have like ribbed sweaters, you have like maybe you have turtleneck sweaters, right? You have like knit sweaters, you have blue sweaters, green sweaters, black sweaters, right? So I would look to see all the different ways people are searching for your articles of clothing and build out collection pages for it, right? You even have like men's, women's, right? So you have like, men's turtleneck sweaters, men's black sweaters, women's black turtleneck sweaters, right? Like, and you want to kind of analyze the search results to see kind of like, okay, should I build a collection page here? Maybe I should optimize the product. Like if you go very, very specific, right, for like men's black turtleneck sweaters, maybe you don't have like that many men's black turtleneck sweaters, right, to put into a collection page. So maybe in that case, you do optimize a product page, right? But for the most part, it's a lot of collection pages that you build out for all those different types of keyword variations to really just have that visibility. So when people are searching those transactional keywords, they find your brand.
Yeah. So even for smaller, thinking back from larger brands that we help out, the person that's just starting out, they're just got an idea and they just want to start building their clothing brand. And so even for them, how would they collection page off if they're only have 3, 4, 5 designs, to start off? I mean, so do you still at that point, do you suggest doing SEO and just targeting the product, and then as they grow their catalog, then they start clumping them together for collection pages?
It depends on what Google's ranking for the keyword, right? Like I would figure out like what is my target keyword, and then I would Google it and see what is Google ranking in the top. Are they ranking individual product pages? Are they ranking collection pages? The thing with SEO is it's not really a game of guesswork. I think the people who like perform the poorest at SEO are the guys who are just trying to guess and be like, okay, let's just try a collection page. Let's just try a blog post. Let's try a product page, right? You don't want to guess. You want to look to see what Google is ranking, right? If they're ranking product pages, then by all means, optimize your product page, right? But if you're seeing a lot of collection pages or product category pages ranking at the top, you're probably better off creating a collection or product category page and just adding like the 1 or 2 products you have in there and just in ranking it. I've seen a lot of people say, oh, like, it's better to have more products in there for rankings. And I agree with that to an extent. Especially if like your product has the keyword in the title, right? It just adds the keyword to the page more and Google recognizes it as like better optimized. But I also have ranked collection pages with one product. Like I've done it, you know? So like I would really just look at what Google wants to rank and try to model that, whether that be products or even a collection with just like one product in it, right? And then over time, as your brand scales, you can add more products to the collection pages.
Okay. Yeah, and I know that this is more of an SEO industry thing, but so I know it's obviously we also look at intent, right? So what is the intent of the person? I know you keep saying, obviously the products are in a buying mode, so it's a purchase as opposed to like informational. And so I think that's something that new people need to know as well, in
Yeah.
terms of knowing what the intent of the keyword that they're optimizing for.
Yeah. It's super important. Like we were just working on this campaign. It's in the telehealth space. And I'm not even going to try to remember like what the medications or compounds it was, but let's just call it a compound. Okay. Actually, like, no, I can't remember. Let's just call it a compound, right? If you would think that like, okay, I'm selling this compound, let's rank for the compound's name or like the drug's name or whatever, right? But if you Google the drug's name, you just get a bunch of WebMD articles or like just a bunch of like, informational like health articles.
Yeah. Mhm.
Like, all like GoodRx has a blog post ranking, right? So if you actually try to rank that page for just like the drug's name, it's never going to happen because the drug's name, you think that people are searching that when they want to buy it, but Google has determined that people are actually looking for information, which is why they're sourcing informational articles, right? But if you add buy to the beginning of it, buy plus the drug, and you search it, you'll see that Google is ranking product pages and collection pages, right? So that tells you that like buy drug online or drug for sale is actually the keyword you want to target, not the drug's name itself, right? So intent is so important. It will make or break your campaign. Imagine if you target the drug's name and you spend like 6 months building links, right? And you're like, creating content, internally linking to the product or collection using like the drug's name as your anchor text. It's like you have 6 months of SEO that's like it didn't do anything. Now you could change it, right? You can go in and update the page and make it target keywords that are buying intent. But like, it hurts you, right? Like you're not even you're targeting a keyword that Google is never going to rank the page for, no matter how many high quality links you have, right? So
Right.
intent is everything.
So what I know you brought up the hearing aids and the farmers. That's a big niche, by the way. I congratulate you for that. That's a tough niche. I stay completely out of that. But anyway, without giving any client specifics in terms of names, is there another example that you provided some great examples already? But is there like an example that comes to your mind where you've just like made a breakthrough or something that's really going to be able to help our clients or anyone out there that's really looking to, what is do you have an example, a story of something where, what you've done, maybe you thought it wasn't going to work, but it did, or maybe the results were different. But is there a story or a client you can think of that just like, hey, this is going to help, this would really help our clients or whoever's watching the video?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, there's a lot of examples I can give. I think because I'm going to pick an example where I can kind of teach kind of a new strategy, right? So I've talked about collection pages, like we've really gone over that. Like how important collection pages are and building out different collection pages, target different keywords. Here's another interesting one. So we work with a CBD brand. They're pretty big CBD brand. They wanted to rank for CBD gummies. Very, very competitive keyword, right? Like it's so competitive, right?
Yeah.
And they were ranking like they would kind of oscillate between not ranking for the keyword to ranking like number 10 for the keyword, right? Now they were a big brand, they had a lot of authority. They had ranked for the keyword in the past, and they were just like, how do we get rankings back for this? So I looked at the page and I looked at like the keyword targeting on the page, and the meta title was kind of weird because it was like the meta title was like best CBD gummies, and then it was like spy CBD gummies online or something to the effect of that, right? And so I was looking at it and I was like, Google can't figure out what this page is because they stop ranking it, they start ranking it, and then it never goes to the top. So I was trying to figure out, like, what's wrong with this, right? And what I realized is that because because they had best CBD gummies in the meta title, Google couldn't determine if they should rank the page for best CBD gummies, buy CBD gummies, right? And you think it's all kind of the same thing, right? But it's not.
Right.
If you search best CBD gummies, it's a different intent than just CBD gummies. And it's also a different intent than just buy CBD gummies, right? So what was happening there was you had this page that was targeting two different intent keywords. And this is another really big killer for SEO, right? It's like people talk about targeting a primary keyword and a secondary keyword, and that's all good. You want to do that. But if the primary and secondary keyword have different intents, and what I mean by that, by the way, is you Google both keywords. And if the search results are completely different, they have different intents, right? But if you Google both keywords and there's like 4 or 5, pages that kind of match, you have the same intent, right? Best CBD gummies versus CBD gummies, completely different search results, right? So again, Google was confused. So we went in and we got rid of best CBD gummies from the meta title. We made the meta title something like, CBD gummies for sale, buy CBD gummies online, and then like the brand name, right? And then we went in and we refreshed all the content to make it target those keywords better, right? So now the intent was aligned, right? We had the page where the intent was aligned. And then we went in and did some cleanup work. We audited the blogs, got rid of a bunch of junk blogs. We optimized the internal linking, right? They had a lot of other product and collection pages that had a lot of links. We edited those pages, added internal links to the CBD gummies page. Within a month, they're at the number 2 spot now. And they oscillate between 1 and 2 for CBD gummies, which is incredible, because before that they didn't rank. They either didn't rank at all or they ranked number 10. And number 10, you don't get clicks for number 10. You got to be in the top 3 or top 5. So that right there, it's a good lesson for how important keyword intent is. And when you pick primary and secondary keywords, to make sure they have the same intent. Because if you start targeting different keywords that have different intents, the page just isn't going to rank.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you have some big industries. So I don't know if you want to share this or not. It's up to you. But what is the average budget? Let's just say beyond ads, they've already done their ads and they're Ecommerce SEO. What do you suggest that a company has? I mean, obviously, they're not going to be as big as pharma, right? So, what budget would you say a restaurant pushing their merch, or a company that has multiple locations, or is a entertainment company? I don't want to say too much, but is an entertainment company that has a pretty good brand within the casinos, but they obviously want to start pushing their merch. Those kinds of companies, what in terms of a budget? They've already done all their social, they've already done all their ad spends, so they're just strictly looking at Ecommerce SEO. So what kind of budget would you suggest for those kind of companies to work with you?
I think a good budget for an average medium-sized company or small to medium-sized business that's probably doing around 7 figures in revenue in the e-commerce space, I would say around 3,000 to 5,000 a month is probably a good place to be. 3,000 is kind of on the lower end. That's a good place to be if you have a couple different, maybe 3 or 4 different collection pages that you want to rank. And then 4K is kind of a middle ground, and then 5K is if you have a bunch of collection pages. Maybe if you're a clothing brand and you have 10 to 15 collection pages you want to rank, or even more. I mean, it doesn't, you can work on it one at a time, right? But 3 to 5 is where I'd want to be. You can go, we have companies we work with that have budgets over five grand, right? That's, CBD is an example, right? But you probably, I guess the main thing I want to get at here is that you don't really want to go below 3, right? Maybe you can get away with 2, maybe, but you're probably not going to get high quality work, right? And the reason for that is because when you pay these SEO retainers, you're paying for links too. And agencies like myself, when we source links, we pay for them, right? So it's not like when you pay us $3 grand a month or $4 grand a month or whatever, we just pocket everything, right? We're using that to pay links, right? So think about it. The lower your spend is for SEO, the lower of quality links you get. are going to be, right? Because you want quality links, and quality links cost money, right? You go to these sites, like, people talk about with link building, build relationships and like, broken link building, whatever. I guess you could do it. I guess it works. But like, if you want to build links at scale, you got to pay for them. Everyone does. All the agencies pay for links. Nobody builds links naturally, unless you want to consider PR natural, right? But like, I don't really consider PR as like, it is technically link building, but agency style link building is a little bit different. And if you're only paying like $1,000 a month, right? And say links on average cost around like $200, right? A link.
Yeah.
Like for a good quality link, right? What are you going to get for $1,000, right? The SEO agency's got to spend money on links. How many links? They're not going to get you any good. It's going to be garbage links, right? So at $3K, right, that's when you can start getting, 4 or 5 quality links, right? And then, so that's why I kind of suggest that range, because once you get within that range, that you're giving an SEO agency enough money where they can profit off it, but then also spend some of that retainer on links, right? If you're spending $2,000 or $1,000 a month, that SEO agency, they're going to want to make money, obviously, right? It's a business, right? They need to make profits, right? They're not going to put all the money into links for you and profit zero, but one or two, like, there's not enough money for them to spend on links, on quality links that'll move the needle. So that's kind of my recommendation.
Okay. Well, thank you for that. So if a company's out there, wants to contact you, wants to work with you, what's the best way for them to reach out?
Yeah. So my website, inboundpursuit.com. So that's our agency website. You can go on there. You can check out our testimonials, our case studies, client results, and you can very easily book a call with us so that we can, just take a look at your brand, talk to you a little bit, see if it's a good fit. Like, we don't do any like high pressure sales and all that stuff, right? Like, we come on if we think it's a good fit, if we think we can help you, let's do it. If not, like, not a big deal, right? You can also check out my YouTube channel. You can check out my content on X at SEO Keval as well. I post a lot of content there about SEO. But yeah, check out those resources, and you'll learn a lot.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll be sure to link everything. So, hey, man, that was a great interview. We really appreciate Keval. I mean, I thought it was going to be a good interview, but definitely got a good little nuggets in there. So we appreciate your time. And to anyone out there, if you're out of need, reach out to this guy, man. He's the best. So thank you again, Keval. We appreciate your time. And we'll talk to you guys soon.
Absolutely.